Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, everybody. This is what happens when you have to switch from one console to another. Okay, so can everybody see the screen now? Game feed?
I'm seeing everything coming through on your side of the stream. We're just making sure that everything is coming through to the SpeedGaming channel, folks, and then we'll be ready to go.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, sorry about the delay, everybody. This is Kemono Heroes. This is a digital-only game that was released on the Switch in February of this year. This is the, as far as I know, the only release. I'm sure there probably will be some other releases on future platform, but this is a neat little platformer. Unlike the last game I played, this is actually a pretty good game, and we're going to be playing the hard difficulty, where everything that hits you will kill you in either 1 or 2 hits. So we're going to be playing that, and this is a platformer game where you can play as one of 4 characters, and we're going to be going with the flying squirrel Hanako because she can glide. And yeah, we'll get started. In 3, 2, 1, and go. So this game has a lot of tributes to a lot of different platformers and platformer style games. Let's see if you can figure out how many mechanics or games this game borrows from. But there's definitely a lot. Like for this gliding mechanic that I'm doing, it's kind of a shout out to Super Mario World in a sense. So the story of this game is that the moon god has gone berserk and is trying to petrify everybody. So that's its petrification effect right there. And we're gonna do this little cutscene skip. Okay. Wasn't exactly the cutscene skip I was hoping for, but it's just a few seconds here and there. So we're gonna see the moon god do its thing right in this stage. Basically trying to petrify you, and we wanna be behind something once that flash finishes. Once the screen goes white and everything goes black, that's when you want to be behind something. So this game is divided into several different areas and stages, and you notice you can get money, and you can also get orbs in this game, which are very powerful. I'm going to demonstrate how powerful an orb is right here. So it kind of works like a smart bomb in most shmups. You just use the orb and it'll kill everything. And you wanna... Money is a very important mechanic in this game because it allows you to buy upgrades. You can upgrade your sword, you can upgrade your orb count, you can upgrade your sub-weapons, which we'll be seeing in a bit. So the most important things to upgrade are orbs and your sword damage and your health, because we will be dying in 2-3 hits to most enemies. You can see whenever I took a hit, I was taking a lot of damage. So we don't want to get hit too much, especially since we're going to be playing most of this run at very low health values. So here's a little cutscene skip. If you just glide onto the edge of the screen, you're gonna skip that. Otherwise, you're gonna have this little scene where your character is shot at the forest burning down. I want to get at least 10,000 coins before I reach the end of the stage, because I'm gonna need to buy some stuff. So as far as this game goes and its mechanics, you can see how good the movement options are. So here's a shop. I need to buy as many orbs as I can. So ideally I wanted 3 orbs, but I didn't have enough money to get 3 orbs. So we're gonna have to make do with what we have here. So you can see how quickly the boss health drains went with the orbs. So if I had the 3rd orb, I would be able to probably kill this boss by now, but I don't. So we're gonna have to fight it normally. One of the things about this game and its boss fights is the bosses tend to go off screen quite a bit. So we have to kind of assess the risk and reward. Obviously you want to use your orbs as much as possible, since that's the main way of killing bosses, but you if the boss decides to go off screen at the first possible moment, then you're losing on a lot of potential damage, so you kind of have to wait for it to do an attack where it goes off screen and then unleash your orbs. Yeah, this game has a lot of mechanics borrowed from different games, like I said. There's super ghouls and ghosts, and there's Castlevania. You can see I have this little dive kick move that I can do, where I can dive kick and hit an enemy, and if I hit the enemy I can do a dive kick again. That's kind of borrowed from Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I believe. It also has some mechanics from Mega Man Zero, where you can do this triple slash, and if you turn, you can retain the hitbox of your slash. Okay, so you can see how fast boss health drains when you use your sword. I mean, your orbs. Yeah, in hard mode, bosses have a lot more HP, and besides taking a lot more damage. So boss fights are generally a lot longer than in normal difficulty. Also, when we beat the first boss, we got this little grappling hook that we can use to scale walls. We're gonna be seeing a lot in the next area, so don't worry. Yeah, this game has a lot of really cool movement options, that's why I like it as a speed run. So I upgraded my sword so you can see it's now red instead of white, and it'll change colors once you keep upgrading it to the point where it becomes a rainbow colored. So here's an enemy rush section. You just have to kill as many things as possible. For the most part, we will be expecting a few deaths in this game, just in this run, just because enemies hit so hard. Here's our second boss, the Tanuki Samurai. So I want to just unleash my orbs as soon as he spawns and hope he doesn't go off screen very much. That's a decent RNG. Unfortunately, the way the orbs work, you have to be... The most damage you can do with the orbs is if the boss is right on top of the point of origin of the orb. So unfortunately he did that move where he slashed across the screen, so we weren't able to do the full amount of damage with the orbs, but it's okay, we didn't go off screen, so we got a good amount of damage in. I actually have never seen that before, killing him in the middle of this kunai attack, so looks like when you kill him, you don't take any more damage from kunais. So yeah, besides the Mega Man and Castlevania mechanics, there's some Ninja Gaiden going on, and I don't know what other games this borrows from, but there's, see if you can spot them. It's got the slide from the classic Mega Man games as well, except the slide works a little differently from Mega Man, wherein if you slide into an enemy, you're actually gonna bonk into them, and that does make it kind of annoying to traverse stages quickly, because we want to be at the point, we don't want to bonk into enemies very much. So if you're in an area where there are a lot of enemies, you don't want to like slide too much, because you will bonk into them, and unfortunately we do want to be in keep our sliding momentum throughout most stages to go quickly. That's why we want to avoid being near as many enemies as possible. So this stage is where we use our grappling hook. We'll see about the grappling hook use here. And this is basically a Super Mario World type stage where you just go above everything and glide over everything. So there are 4 characters in this game, and Hanako, the character I'm playing as, has the ability to glide. There's also Fudamaru, the fox, who can transform into enemies. Probably the slowest out of all the characters. There's Ryuki, the cat. She can climb walls, but we already have the grappling hook for that, so that's kind of redundant. And we have Yu, the monkey, who can climb ropes. So if I was playing as any other character, I would not be able to do the gliding thing. So here's an auto-scroller. The objective of this auto-scroller is to get as much money as possible. Since, like I said, money is a precious commodity in this game. And we want to also get as many orbs as possible. Oh, nice! 2 orbs. I have not seen that before. I've never seen a chest where you get 2 orbs from it. So, since this is an auto-scroller, if you have any donations, Tristan, then go right ahead and read them.
Alrighty. So it looks like we are currently all caught up on donations, but we can always get some more in to try to get us up and hit that $5,000. We're not too far away from that. I think we could probably hit it by the time the morning guys are coming in and people are waking up. Just so everybody knows, the next couple of donation incentives are Breath of Fire 2 file name and Final Fantasy 1 character names. And I'll turn it back over to you then.
Okay, sounds good. Alright, so you'll see those two guys coming in every now and then. They're actually the bosses of this area. So you can hit them a few times and they'll get stunned and release a bunch of money. But unfortunately, in hard mode, they have a lot of HP, so we are not gonna be able to stun them, most likely. So that's why we try to leave them alone. So here's the boss fight with them. We want to do our orb attack on as close to them as possible, so we can hit both of them. And then we want to avoid that dragon, because he can and will damage you if you get within his hitbox. Okay, so out of lives. Dying in this game is pretty detrimental, or getting a game over in this game is pretty detrimental in that you are gonna lose a lot of your money. If I lose all my lives, I won't actually get sent to the start of the area. I just replay the stage I died on, which in this case is the boss fight. But losing the money is what hurts. Okay, so we got through that fight, so I just need to try to get through the next area without dying so I can spend my money. That's really the thing that's most concerning right now. I can take 2 hits before I die. I might take a tactical game over at the next screen after I've spent most of my money, but we'll see. What I should have done earlier was get more lives, because there are a lot of points in the game where you can get lives. I just didn't bother collecting them. It is very likely that I'll get some going forward. Okay, so just need to spend my money and see what I got. Probably gonna buy a health upgrade or refill my health. And that should tide me over for most of this area. I may not have to take a tactical game over. Okay, so this is a stage where the name of the game is just using your grappling hook to scale most of the area. So you can see if you do it correctly, it looks really smooth and nice to look at. Then you just want to keep your dash momentum or slide momentum throughout the stage, meaning we don't want to touch the ground. Just slide, jump, and then stay in the air most of the time. Alright, so got that. Now I don't have enough to buy anything significant. Most of the upgrades in this game cost 4,000 coins, and then singular orbs cost 1,000 coins. Okay, so since we upgraded our health once, we can take 3 hits as opposed to 2. As far as the people who run this game, Tina Hacks runs this game besides me, and there's also another Japanese runner who picked up this game recently. But they do normal difficulty, and I'm the only one who does hard difficulty. I'm a sucker for punishment. I like to play a lot of If there's usually a harder difficulty in a mode in a game, I will probably likely run it, even if nobody else will. That's just the kind of person I am with regards to speedrunning. I like to look at categories that most people won't look at, like 100% runs and so forth. So yeah, it can be kind of lonely trying to work on categories that people don't run, but I just enjoy that aspect of looking at unexplored things. Okay, so I'm gonna buy sword upgrade and an orb. I want max orbs for this. Also, we get a Mega Buster in this game. You can charge your sword up and fire a shot. So unfortunately, I didn't get very good RNG here. You can get up to either 1, 2, 3, or 4 enemies in here. We want to see either 3 or 4, because you'll notice I didn't use my orbs right away. This boss has 5. That's pretty good. Okay, you can see how fast this boss dies if you have more of these guys on the screen, because they all have a shared life bar, and yeah, so if there are more enemies on the screen, the orbs are going to do more damage. So the moon god does his thing and he petrifies you, so now you're dead. So this game pulls super ghouls and ghosts on you and has you do a second loop of the game. So now we're back to the start of the game as a spirit, where things are much harder. They move faster, they hit harder, and we're gonna have to go through most of the stages again in a slightly harder form. And also, interesting about this game is once you are in the second loop, there are going to be some random stage effects that will affect the normal gameplay, like you may get faster movement speed, you may get high gravity, low gravity, and from what the dev has told me, they are working on an update that will allow us to sort of control what effects we get upon entering these stages, but as of right now that update has not come yet. So we just have to deal with the random stage effects. So it's particularly evident in the auto-scroller stages, where you might get a slow auto-scroller or a fast auto-scroller and have this unavoidable 10-second time loss or gain. Yeah, it's just the nature of speedrunning this game. Which is why I don't do runs of this game very often, or PB attempts of this game very often, because I'm kind of waiting for the update. But it is still a nice game to show off to the marathons. Oh wow, I got 6 orb drops from that. I usually don't get like 2 orbs or so from that, but 6 is ridiculous. Also, the palette can change as well. So sometimes if you enter a stage, you might see a reddish hue instead of the green that you're seeing right now, or blue, or yellow. Okay, also things hit a lot harder. You can see I died in 1 hit from that. Also, those shadow type enemies there are unique to hard mode. So you won't see them if you're playing on normal difficulty. So we're gonna fight the boss again. This time they're a lot faster, but thankfully they die a lot quicker because we have a lot more upgrades. We have a full set up 6 orbs this time. So yeah, fights are generally gonna end much quicker than the first loop, just by the fact that we have more orbs to go around. So it looks like I got the slightly faster stage speed. So you can see this stage, I'm moving at a lot faster pace than I was originally. One interesting thing about these shadow enemies is that if you drop kick them, they will give you a lot more money than they... If you drop kick them, they will die instantly, and you'll get a lot of money from them. So it's good to... Ah, shoot. Drop kick into a pit there. That's fine. I have most of my upgrades, so... Anyway, so that's... okay. Also, pits in this game are instant death, as I just demonstrated. So you can see the differences upon entering the stage. The background's slightly different. We still have the fast stage speed. That can kind of throw you off a bit if you have the fast stage speed. So you kind of have to adjust on the fly. So this is going much better than the first time around. Ah, shoot. I need to stop dropping into pits. Oh, well, that's not going very well. Yeah, that's a problem with this, the drop kicks and slides in general, because enemies can get directly in the way and you will just end up either bonking into them and it'll just throw you off completely. But hey, you can see the random stage effects I was talking about. So now I have a high jump and the background's blue. I think I kind of want that. Okay, got third orb. Alright. Okay, you can see how messy it is when a lot of enemies are on the screen. So I want to buy 5 orbs. Okay, so we have enough orbs to completely shred this boss, thankfully. That's really all I want coming into this stage. So hopefully we shouldn't get any more game overs like that last stage. I just have to get past this stage because the initial stage here is horrible for going fast, since there are a lot of enemies in the way and they will directly interfere with your slide movements. There's 2 1-ups I can get there. Yeah, getting a lot of money is still the name of the game. We're not going to be spending it here though, because there actually is no boss for this area, since we already beat the Tanuki guy. So here, the enemy rush is still mostly the same, except we're going to get a lot more enemies, as you will see here, and you'll get the shadow enemies as well. So you can see our charge buster, as I'll call it. It'll completely shred these enemies. Okay, so here's something different. We will meet this priestess. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but she gives us this talisman that we need to fill up to get our life back. Because if you remember, the moon god petrified us, so we need this talisman to get back to life, get back to our original body. So since it's a vertical stage, this is going to be a lot more dangerous because the Oni guys, the big blue ogres, or Onis, you see there, they swing their sword a lot quicker. So you don't want to be directly in their sword hitbox. Also, enemies just fire a lot quicker in general in the second loop. Just gonna use an orb here because we're gonna get one back. So you can see how long it takes to kill these shadow enemies when if you're not doing your dive kick. Alright, so you can see how fast that slash comes out. I do want to get that money. Okay. So not much in this stage has changed. We're still going to glide over it. And there's still going to be that all-scroller at the end of this stage. So, do you have any donations to read out? Or any plugs? Looks like there aren't any. Okay, so I'm gonna upgrade my sword, and then if I have any remaining money, I'll use it on health. Okay, we got the slow auto scroller, which probably isn't ideal. I guess in this instance, what I could do is either take a game over and try for better auto scroller RNG, but I think it's better just to go with it because I do want a full set of 6 orbs for the boss. So yeah, hard mode is indeed pretty hard, as you can probably see. So at some point I do grab a lot of safety lives in runs, but I haven't really done that in this particular run. Eventually I'll get to the point where I stop trying to go for safety 1-ups, but I am really waiting on the update to release to make this game more consistent. So yeah, also it's probably obvious, but we don't have our cloud this time, so we're gonna have to do everything on foot, which is fine. Especially at this auto-scroller speed, it's definitely manageable. Our main objectives are to get as much money as we can and as many orbs as we can before the boss fight. So those black clouds that you see there, they can only be destroyed by an orb for some reason. All right. I just want to avoid falling to the pits, because that's probably the main source of death. Just pick up as much money as we can and move on to the next stage. Okay, surprisingly, I'm still doing okay on time. I usually set an estimate of 40 minutes for normal difficulty, and for hard mode my estimate is usually 42 minutes, just because of the potential for game overs and the stage RNG. Otherwise, if you can play well, this game is pretty consistent other than the stage RNG. Alright. That's perfectly fine. I think I might actually get to the point where I need to buy 1-ups instead. Okay, so I buy a couple 1-ups, upgrade my sword to max first, then buy some health, then buy 1-up, buy orb here. Okay, so here's the main difference compared to the first time around. Okay. So you can see the moon is trying to petrify us, and it is an instant kill if we get caught in the crossfire. Unfortunately, we do have the fast stage speed as well, which kind of makes things more complicated. Okay. Yeah, it's likely I might game over here because there's a. This is probably not a stage RNG that I'm used to. Okay, we will get through this. It's just a minor setback. I did spend most of my money earlier, so should be fine this next time around, assuming we get good stage RNG. Okay, we have normal speed and I think low gravity. I think I can work with this. It's an interesting concept for sure, the stage having random stage effects on each stage. However, for speed runs it doesn't really work too well in practice. I don't know how I can get petrified to that, but okay. I guess there's also a way to like mitigate getting petrified if you get hit and are in the middle of your invincibility frames when you're just as you're gonna get petrified. Okay, made it through this time. This time I'm gonna buy as many orbs as I can.
Looks like we have a $5. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you can
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to let you know that we have a $5 donation from Felix. No comment, but I just wanted to say thank you again for the donation and the generosity.
Thank you. Yep, this is pretty much bullet hell when you get to the second loop. You can see the enemies shoot a lot more frequently, which does make traversing this stages very difficult. But thankfully that's probably the worst part of it. And this last stretch, the enemies are pretty spread far apart. Okay, so we're gonna meet our Tanuki friend again. This time we're gonna do the orb strategy yet again, and pray he doesn't go off screen. Went off screen. That's why I didn't use all my orbs instantly. Okay, so we finally beat him, and he gives us all the pieces of the talisman that we need to get back to life. So just one more shop menu and then we'll get to the final boss fight. So I'm gonna max out my orbs. I don't have enough 6. It's unfortunate, but we can still do this. So we go back to our statue of ourself and we finally go back to life and we can finally face the final boss. So the whole purpose of that talisman was to protect us from his petrification spell. So now that's no longer effective on us. The moon god finally shows himself and we can finally fight him. Okay, I can only take up maybe like 3 more hits from him. This is fine. So he just does a lot of attacks and I just want to keep hitting him as much as possible. That's pretty much the fight in a nutshell. Also, he does this little bullet hell segment. Ah, shoot. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to fight him again. Alright, should be okay. I've got 2 lives. One downside to using Hanako is that it does make the drop kick a bit trickier to execute. Because you kind of have to double tap your jump button. So that's how that fight is supposed to look like if you are on that particular segment. So I'm going to save my orb for when it does an attack that has it go out of the way of my melee attack. That is kind of hard to avoid, because when you use your orb, you're invincible for a brief moment. Okay. Okay, I think I will use my orb here. Okay, and that's time. Well, 44 minutes. That's a little overestimate, but sorry about that. Just had way too many deaths for my liking. So yeah, the ending of this game is that the curse of the moon god gets lifted and everybody returns to normal and they live happily ever after. So that's gonna be it for me, and hopefully you all enjoy the rest of the marathon.